So this is by painting Dim My Dusty, and if I could wrap my arms around it and give it a big old hug, I would. I am enamored with these blue faces and this colour scheme. I think it is mysterious and beautiful and familiar and foreign all at the same time. It's the features are known enough for me to feel comfortable, but the blue faces are so different that it really captures my attention. Dim My Dusty is all about the mind and the meeting of new thoughts and old thoughts. The way that they can come together and butt up against each other, or they can come together and assimilate and merge and become a broader, deeper, more whole consciousness, I suppose. When I think about the mind, I think about a space in which there is light and dimness and darkness, shadowy parts and dusty corners and soft ambience. And so this variety of light to me equates with different levels of consciousness or awareness of thought. And I think in some parts of the mind in which are well lit, there is familiar thought and things that are very comfortable to sit with. And then there's parts where there are memories that are forgotten, or things that are, or ideas that have been planted that haven't sprouted yet, or things that are hidden from view, and ideas and thoughts that are waiting to be discovered and waiting to be embraced or rejected if needs be, but they're just not fully conscious and not fully formed. So when I look at these characters, I think of them as thoughts meeting in that room. Have you ever walked into a room and it's dark, and rather than charging into that space and tripping and knocking things over, it's wise to enter it and be still and allow sight to adjust to that dimness. And when you do, then you see things that have always been there, and you can navigate around them. And I think of thoughts in that manner, that there are things waiting in the mind, in the shadows and in the dark parts, that are waiting to be discovered, waiting to be seen, and waiting to be married with conscious thought. I think thoughts can also come, well, a lot of thoughts come from without as well, and I think that same process can occur. I really like this part of the painting because it reminds me of a gentle sunrise. And I think thoughts can, when they are looked at, new thoughts, when they're looked at in soft light, with a gentle gaze, without subjectivity, which is, how do you do that? I'm not sure, because we're all subjective, but just trying to put prejudice or prejudice aside and looking at it and just letting it be there and approaching it gently, then that can allow the new and the old to merge, and can allow us to absorb things without feeling confronted or too challenged, or challenged in such a way that it offends our sense of security, I suppose. Let me read my story to you. Dim My Dusty. Here in our nightlight, in our moonlight, in our dim eye dusty, we, in our tiptoe, our first dance, on our waiting trusting. Now, in our sense of, our shadow, in our reaching explore, see in our sightline our knowing, dare our touching the more. Step into our margin, our verge, saluting our new. Be broader our keep, our marked map, unfolding the view. I think the process of moving from old to new, it doesn't mean you have to do away with what you know. It's more like an adding on and a broadening and an expanding. Although sometimes you do away with things that you previously know when new things come along, and that's okay. And that can be really valuable too. But I look at these and I see them dancing. That circular movement around the canvas, there's a flow and an energy and I suppose like a give and a take to the process. And I think sometimes thoughts sit in the shadows because of maturity, because life's timing is not right. Sometimes they sit in there because we're unwilling to see something from a different point of view, or to take on board a new way of thinking, or to absorb what has always been there because of fear, maybe. But whatever it is, I think there are things in the mind waiting to be discovered, and a self that is waiting to be expanded and to be grown. And this Dim Eye Dusty is my exploration of that idea.